Hey guys, Ponce here, and the public test round was finally started updating again after a long sort of holiday break thing. There isn't a major patch today, it's actually quite small. So this is sort of actually kind of a combination between my sort of speculation videos and like an actual news update from the public test realm. But basically, one of the things that changed here was that Wriggle's lantern icon, or the icon for the item, has changed. Now that on its own really wouldn't be worth sort of reporting on or making a video about. What I find interesting is what this may indicate. This might actually not mean anything, who knows? Maybe I'm just, being a bit paranoid or whatever here. But it tells me that at some point, Wriggles is finally going to get buffed or upgraded or basically turned into a useful item. Um, there was talk a long time ago about bringing Madred's Blood Razor back as an item that Wriggles would eventually build into. I found it actually quite curious when Season 3 item stuff, or Season 4 item stuff initially hit, that it wasn't included with that initial patch. So I guess if it's going to be done, it still needed more testing. Now, I don't know if people have thought about this too much. But I'm sure a lot of you guys have. But basically, I'm sure you guys have probably noticed that no one buys Wriggles for the most part because it's largely outclassed by the spirit items. I mean, if you sit there just purely farming and do nothing but farm your jungle, then yeah, sure, Wriggles is going to end up making you more money. But the stats on it are completely worthless for sort of from an end game perspective. It does give you, I guess, technically, what's it called? Objective control or better objective control over things like Baron and Dragon and stuff. But honestly, for solo queue, who cares about that kind of thing? It's
Honor
about
is in the
winning the
heart,
game.
not the
It
name.
rarely comes down to sort of more complicated things like that. And even on the professional level, I don't really see people building Wriggles, presumably because the lost stats are just too much. Um, and you're not really going to be able to do things like Sneak Baron and Dragon all that often. Going back to Wriggles here, as you can see, it's basically just you can pretty much ignore the other, unique stuff. I guess free ward is kind of nice, but I mean, you get a trinket to do that now anyway. So basically, what you're left with endgame is just 25% attack speed and 20 armor, and you got to spend 1,650 gold to get all the way to this point, and up until then, you don't really need this extra clear speed on most junglers nowadays. I think the most telling point is that sort of attack speed and basically auto attack dependent champions like Aatrox, who are manaless. Aatrox, Tryndamere, Shyvana, Lee Sin, none of them actually build this item. They'll actually go out of their way to build these spirit items. Incidentally, spirit items are a bit different on the public tester. I made a video about it a long time ago. I don't think this has gone live yet, but it still gives mana regen basically in a roundabout way. So all those manaless auto attack speed champions are still building these spirit items that give mana regen, which is a massively wasted stat. So, and again, like I said, like in theory, if you have auto attack, if you want attack speed, this shouldn't be too bad, but it is. It just doesn't give anything useful. Now, the old, let's go alt tab over to the wiki here. The old Madred's Blood Razor, basically its shtick was it used to do percent damage in the form of magic damage. I don't know if they'll bring that back. It was basically they did a whole bunch of math on Riot's end. It said this item is like a trap and it's kind of useless and redundant. Um, I don't know how much accuracy there is in that. I never actually built this item myself either, and I didn't like it, so it kind of makes sense, I guess. But that was basically replaced by Blade of the Rune King. So I don't know if it's gonna end up being like that, where it has percent damage. If Madred's Blood Razor does end up coming back, I don't really want to speculate on what they're going to do with it. They're probably, if it comes back, they're going to have to add some useful stats in there. So, maybe it'll just be a useful version of Wriggles or something. Um, Now, you recall I mentioned those champions earlier, Aatrox, Tryndamere, Shyvana, Lee Sin. They're already like really, really fast jungle clear people. And if you make the Wriggles item too strong in comparison to the Spirit Stone items, There definitely, I can see there being that sort of threat of it becoming an overpowered item because those guys,
One
like I said,
step
clear the
ahead
jungle
of the
fast anyway.
past.
Then they get this item that lets them clear the jungle even faster and make even more money than they used to be. And then end game, they have this really useful item that ends up being, better, or even if it's comparable to the Spirit Stone items. That's kind of a dangerous thing. It would be nice, I suppose, if there was a fully optimized or choice for said manaless champions, but they're already really good anyway, so I don't know. They can afford to take the hit of basically going the Spirit Stone items and building slightly inefficiently. But yeah, if this, anything happens with this item in the coming week or so, or even days, uh, I will definitely get a video up about that stuff, like I always do. So stay tuned for that. If you don't hear anything from me, basically means nothing happened, and all this sort of paranoid speculation was entirely pointless. But well, it's not pointless. I mean, I'm pointing out the fact that Wriggle sucks, I guess, but I'm sure you guys all knew that. Anyway, that's it for me. I will see you guys around. I'll leave you with a picture of the Blood Razor. Goodbye, guys.